what I want to say is Angular, right? Basics of Angular. When you want to learn the Angular, you need to have a little basics prepared, like JS. Let me see what is happening here. Okay. So what I would like to say is foundations of the Angular are lying in a JS. If you have a little experience on the JS, you can become good Angular developer. Right. So what I want to do, we will see some concepts of JS, right? We will have a little brush up on the JS. Likely, how do you write simple JS programs? Very first thing. Now, JS program or any programming language starts with something called as, what you can say, hello world. So here I can create very basics.js. I can have this thing, but make sure that before all these things, you would be knowing, before all these things, you have installed following softwares. And which are that softwares? First you can say, first you need to have latest Nodejs. You need to install. Then you need to have VS Code installed on your machine. Is a code editor from Microsoft, open source code editor from Microsoft. Right, latest Node.js, VS Code, and Git is properly set up on your machine. If you are on the Linux, this is all done. But if you are on a Windows, you need to do some special things. Right, so Node, VS Code, and the Git. These three things are important. Right. If you want to install the Node.js, right, you can go here and the downloads, and in the downloads go to the current version and you can download for the Windows, whatever Linux or whatever it is. Right, from here you can either download, you can select Windows installer, so it will give you Windows installer only. Presently I don't need that. Right, but if you need it, you can get that things. Now, another thing is about the Git SCM, the people who are working for the Windows, on the Windows. Git is not predefined setup on their machine. There are many ways to install the Git on your system, right? Source tree is there and many other system softwares are there. But I personally prefer Git SCM. Is one of the open source tool. Git SCM, right? You can get it, right? You can download it from here. Right? It will give you one, what you can say, it will give you one exe file that you need to install on your machine. Getting that? Git SCM. It is a source control management. Git SCM is the open source. Right? You can download it on your Windows machine. This is a Git client, you can say. If you want to get connected with the Git software, that can be anything, GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket, whatever it is. Then you need to have these things. Okay. Fine, that is one thing. Now another thing is about VS Code. You go here, VS Code, and hit the enter. here you will find VS Code, if you can see VS Code, right? You can see this VS Code. So just click on the download and VS Code would be getting downloaded on your machine. Getting that? VS Code would be getting downloaded on your machine. That is fine. Now for your simple work, or if you want to keep the track of your source code, if you want to keep track of your source code, you would be putting all the codes on the GitHub. Of course, if they are non-proprietary. If you want to make one repository open source, you can go to the github.com/Codekul, right? And here you can have the repository name, right? So what I'll do, github/Codekul 1121, right? This is your branch, this is your repository, right? So I'll copy this name and put it as it is, and I can say here revised. Okay, I can say what? Revised. So here you will get all the revised codes. So you can define if your repository need to be public or private. I need public repository, right? I need public repository. And then you can say, if you want to have git ignore, so you can say here what files you need to add. Filter ignores. So it is saying that kindly ignore these files, and it creates the git ignore. Getting that? License, if you want to enter, you can enter the license as well. Right, add git ignore, none. There is nothing to the git ignore. Getting that? So what is the git ignore file? What not to be uploaded on the git is decided by this file. .git ignore. Whatever you write inside that file, that won't be published to the git. Getting that? So here I can have this simple file. Now let me first create the repository. I do not do anything, but let me see what happens. Now if you can see this, it would be giving you something like this. If you go here, we have created the revised one. Can you see? The revised repository has been created. Getting that? One revised repository here, empty repository has been created. Give access to the people who, here you can add, who can work with this. Collaborators and the team you can add here. Getting that? So if you want your teammates need to be worried about your code and the setup of the code, you can add them. So they can review your code, they can verify your code, they can become a contributor, they can write some code, they can create the documentation, right? They can create the releases. So you can add those responsible people inside this by means of this add teams and the collaborators. Getting that? Add teams and what? Collaborators. Fine. So we have created repository. Now first thing you need to do is you need to clone the repository. Just copy this, right? And on the desktop, what I can say, revised. I'll delete this folder later on. And inside this folder, I want to get that empty repository, right? Empty repository. So open in the terminal, this folder I can open in the terminal. If you are on a Windows, you can find address bar over here. Go to the address bar and type what? CMD. That will take you to the same thing. So command for cloning is git clone. git space clone space what? Repository, full repository name. So what will happen? This repository will come to your local machine, right? If you can, you see, you appears to have cloned an empty repository. What it says? You appear to have cloned an empty repository, means there is nothing. Getting that? Now let me open this in the VS Code. Just save it, and I'll open that folder in the VS Code now. So go to the desktop and revised, and this, let me open it. So I have opened recently clone project inside the VS Code. Remember that you have successfully installed the SCM, git SCM. Then automatically this option would be getting enabled. So what I'll do, new file, and here I can say JS, that should be the folder actually, folder. Here I can say JS, and inside the JS I can create basics.js. I can create what? Basic.js. Okay. Now, can you see here it is showing one bubble. So here I can say console.log. And what's that? Say hello world. Simple hello world program. Right. And now here if you find one bubble over here. And what's that one bubble? One bubble says that this one bubble says that
one file is not there, but at least
one file is not at the remote, but that is available in the local folder. This is, I don't know what is this. So click on this icon. So if you go to the VS Code, left hand side is related to the projects, all the thing related to the projects, right? Then this part would be your actually working part. Here you would be working actually, right? At the bottom it will show you git settings if you have installed git properly, right? And this is the top is the menu bar. Top is what? Our traditional menu bar. So if I click over here, can you see this is saying that this file is not available on the server. Can you see? Untracked file. And here is this thing, means it will show you difference. So difference in the server file, difference in the local file. This column will show you the server remote file. This column will show you what? Local file. Right. Now what it is saying that kindly commit whatever you are doing, kindly commit that. So here click over here, and here it is saying that what you are doing. So I can say JS and basics. So I can have a tick mark over here. Now can you see this has came into the tracked one also here, means in the local repository of the Git all the changes has been saved. In the local repository of the Git all the changes has been saved. When you clone it, I'll show you that. When you clone the repository, ll-l long listing, let me go to the Angular ll-l. Can you see one .git folder is coming, and this .git folder is having all the settings related to your remote repository, right? This is your local repository. Into this local repository everything would be getting stored, right? Even you can traverse to that .git and ls-l. I'm hitting the commands which are specific to the Linux system. ll-l, ls-l will not work on the Windows. Remember that. Okay. So something like this. And here you will find the local repository. Means all the changes which are in the editor has been saved to the local repository. It is called as what? Tracking. So you have saved it. Now another thing is to push. Can you see? Push it. It will ask you the username and password. Remember that the source control you are choosing, right? The Git software you are choosing, at that Git software you need to make the registration. If you think that you need to use GitLab, you need to have account on the GitLab. If you think you need to use a GitHub, you need to have account on the GitHub. Presently we are using what? GitHub. I already have account here. Just refresh it and you can see one JS folder is there. Inside JS folder there is a basics.js. Inside that there is what? Basic.js. Any questions so far you have? If you have any questions, please do ask me. Please ask me the questions if you have.
So this GitHub and GitSM are two different things. I'm not getting the difference.
Yeah. Github is a software, is a Git software, right? And Git SCM is a client. GitHub is a server which manages the Git configurations, Git protocols, right? GitLab is a server again. Bitbucket is a server. While Git SCM is what? Client. Is a client, simply, who keeps capability of communicating with any Git software. That can be anything, right? So this is the client, you can say. Okay. Now let me close unwanted terminals. Okay. So any other questions you have? Now we have created repository, we have written the code inside repository, and we have updated the remote repository. If you can see, 3 minutes ago. It is what? 3 minutes ago. Fine, means it's a very much latest. Any questions? Now make sure that you have installed the node. One exe would be getting downloaded on your machine if you are using the Windows, right? If you are using Linux, right, you can say GitHub nvm. One of the repository is there. Right? If you want to install node on the Linux system, I will not prefer personally to downloading the zip from here and working with that. Getting that? What I will prefer to use the NVM, Node Version Manager. Is what? Node Version Manager. So I already have installed, as I'm using Linux. Here you can see NVM ls remote. LVM ls remote. If I hit the enter, all the what happened? Hang or what? Okay. NVM ls remote. All the remote versions of the node which are available on the server, it will show you. So present version is 13.3.0 and I'm using 13.2.0. Right. For Linux only. If you are on a Windows, kindly download this exe, make a double click, next, and Git is readily available for you. Sorry, node is readily available for you, right? Okay. So, but on the Linux, we will prefer NVM, Node Version Manager. Actual intention of a NVM is managing multiple node versions on a single machine. Right, NVM uses the command. You can use any node version you want to use. Fine. Now see here, what I want to show you here, if you have installed node and make enter, here it will show you version. Welcome to Nodejs 13.2.0. Here I can say 10 plus 89 is equals to 10 plus 89 is equals to 99. If you see something like this, which means that node is up and running on your machine. If it is interpreting the JS, console.log hi. Can you see hi? It is showing you. If it is interpreting the JavaScript, which means that your node setup is done. Now what is node? Is a JS interpreter. Is a JavaScript runtime. Can you see? Is a JavaScript runtime on the Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. So this is another project built on the top of this. Node is a JavaScript runtime which understands the JavaScript. So far we have used JS in the browsers only. But now JS is going to be used for the servers as well. As a node. You need to have node on the server. You can write typical server in the Express.js or the Nest.js. Vue is a front end. Vue React is a front end. Vue is a front end, React is a front end. Angular is a front end. Simple JS is a front end. Getting that? So JS works in the browser for validations, for the DOM manipulation, right? JS works on the server for server side management. HTTP request, HTTP responses. That has to be managed by means of one framework. That framework or the frameworks are different. JS is just runtime, which understand the JS outside the browser. That's it. Getting that? It understands the JS, but outside what? Browser. Okay. Now, any questions you have? Now,
Sir, we are pushing that code to the master branch.
Master branch.
Let's say Suraj has committed something else in the some different file.
Branch, yeah.
So in that case, do Suraj needs to create a
Separate branch. Yes,
so
yes.
that push that code to the legacy master.
No, he has to create the separate branch. And after that, merge happens.
So how does it happen? Actually, I don't know that merging process.
Fine, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Right. That is a bit advanced part, but I'll tell you little bit later on. How to create the branch is very simple. Creating branch is very simple.
In the same project, we are 6 members want to commit to the different branch. So finally, we just want to merge.
Yeah, that is the intention only. Now, if you can see, master branch, and you can create here your own branch. Say this branch created. If you can see, and you can opt for the branch now. Now how to push? There is one command you need to add while pushing the code. And if you are in the VS Code, right here you need to select. Can you see? This branch. Which branch you need to push? From here you need to select. If you select to that, it would be getting added.
On that particular branch.
On that particular branch would be getting added. And after that there is a merge command, which is not a big deal. So here is a git lens. So there is a merge command. I know from the command, right, how to merge two branches by means of command, but VS Code I need to really check how exactly happens. Right, but fine, I'll tell you later on. That's not a big deal. So here what we did, we installed the JS, we installed git scm, we have push the repository, we have cloned the repository, we have made changes. Right. Now here console.log, I want to see the change. I want to get the output of this. Either I need to create index.html, and inside that HTML I need to import this file. Either I need to create what? HTML, and I need to import the file. But fortunately, we have installed what you can say the node on our machine. We have installed what? Node on our machine. So you can go to the desktop and inside this you can say terminal, and here you can say node, and basics.js. Hit the enter. Can you see? You get what? Hello world. Node is interpreting all the JS code. Anything related to JS, Node is interpreting. So what is Node? Is a JS runtime which understands the JS. Getting that? Is a JS runtime which understands the JS. So remember that. So this is about what you can say, the Node. Installation is not a big deal. Now what we need to do? Let's try to have something. So we have seen how to print it on the console. Now how to create the variables. So there is a var something called as, which defines what? Variables. And here I can say var number is equals to 10, where num is equals to what? 10. Then again I can say num is equals to high. Then num is equals to true. I'm telling you data types, right? Value types more precisely. Num is equals to 10.56. Getting that thing? So variable num can have these many values. Well, how do you write function? Just have the function keyword, name of the function high. Name of the function is what? High. And you can say something like this. Well, function can have parameters. Here you can say n1 and n2. These are the two parameters. And this can return. Here you can say n1 plus what? n2. This is how you will write the function in the JS. Function, name of the function, then parameter list, then your function body. Here you can say fn body, function body, and then you can say what? Return n1 and n2. And this is how you will call the function high 89 plus 50. 89 plus 50. Getting that? Now if you try to execute it, we didn't console the high, right? Well, technically you can say where res is equals to this and console.log what? Res. And see, res is what? 139. It is telling you. Getting that? How to write functions, how to write variables. This is how. Okay. Now, if you can see this thing, this is a little bit problematic. At the line number 3, it is what? 10. At the line number 4, this is what? String. Line number 5, it's boolean. And line number 6, it is what? Precision value. Remember this thing. This has been solved in a Typescript. This problem has been what? Solved in a Typescript. How? We'll see that. But remember that this is the problem. This might create the problem in the big systems, in the large systems. Getting that? So, to avoid that, there is a Typescript. Now, there is something called as, if you can see, or I'll create a separate file in a JS and I can say es6.js, take it in the folder es6.js. Now see, instead of where I'm using what? Let. You'll get to know the difference. Where J, or you can say RM is equals to 10, or true is equals to 10. And here I can say if true, RM is equals to 20, and here console.log what? RM. Console.log what? RM. Now what would be the value of console.log? All the new people. What would be the value of console.log? Yes. What would be the value of console.log? Please tell me, new people. 20? See, answer is what? 20, which is correct. Right. But if you talk about the scoping, answer shouldn't be 20. That should be what? 10. Getting that? If you are worrying about the scope, because this RM variable is limited to this scope, right? If you want to achieve the scoping, you need to have something called as let. You need to have what? Let. And then you can see this 10. The meaning of let is this thing. Scoping, lexical scoping. Lexical scoping would be getting enabled in this way. Any question? External now see, in my opinion, if this is where this is let, answer would be 10. Right. But if this is let, and let's try to have var over here, then error has already been declared. Right. If first is let, second should be what? Let. If the name is same. If the name is same, if first is what? Let. Second should be what? Let. But reverse is not true.
Because we are trying to change that let to globally. That is not reverse possible.
Reverse is not possible.
To someone local, you cannot make global.
Yes.
Global cannot be used as a
Local. That's the concern.
I got some issues in my writing the scripts.
Okay. Fine. Now it's a 10 clearly. Right. So in the ES6, there is one more thing that we are going to use frequently in Angular is the arrow functions or the lambda functions. So generally we represent function like this. If you can see, we represent function something like this. Function, name of the function, and parameter list. Same function I'm going to write again in the ES6. If you see this thing, the same function I have written over here, function high, n1, n2, and written this thing. Same function I'm going to write by means of arrow, fat arrow in the JS terms. In the math, it is the lambda. Let a result or let fn sum, function who creates the sum, is equals to fn sum is equals to same function I am going to write. Right? How shall I write? Two parameters, one bracket I will write for two parameters, and here I can say n1 and what? N2. Then I would be having one symbol is called as arrow, right? Symbol arrow, and then I can pass the parameter list n1 plus n2. So this guy is called as a lambda or fat arrow. So this guy and this guy, this 4 lines of code is equals to this 1 line of code, is a mathematical representation of the functions. Everything is same. Well, there are differences. What the differences are, we'll see. Getting that? It is just the another way of representing. Another way, this is how you will represent the functions in other way.
So, but for simple calculation, it look easy, but actually, when it comes to the complex part of the function, so does lambda, just give you that
Lambda is having one more use, is a this keyword.
this keyword.
So value of this, if you see console dot log, and if I print this, value of this, first we will see node basics.js. Can you see this is the value of what? This console.log this. This is what the value of what? This. Now if I say console.log this in the ES6, right? Now you go here and console node ES6.js. Can you see? Presently, oh well, we haven't called this function. Fn sum 1089 or whatever it is. Then let me try to clear this. Can you see? There is no value of this. Just empty object. Getting that? Just what? Empty object. So this is the one difference. If you use lambda, the value of this would be the outer class value, the state of the outer class. If you print this inside this, value would be some global object. You remember that? So this inside the lambda and this inside the function are taking different values. Are taking what? Different values. So make sure that this will be happening. Getting that? Any question you have? So when to use this, you will get to know. Whenever you have typical class.
Sir, outer class value means where that function is.
No. There is something called as class keyword. Right? There is something called as class keyword. And into that class keyword there is some state. Consider that class car. Speed and the lights would be two states. And if you print this in that case, it will print values of speed and the light. Getting that? I am talking about that class. Object oriented class. So this is in conjunction with the object oriented class, and this is typically in context of the JavaScript. Global object. This.
So in that case, this refers to the owner of the function.
You can say, right, but that is some different object. Can you see it's a global object? You cannot say this is a reference of the function.
You mean to say basically current class instance that is referred by this.
This inside the lambda. Getting that? So this guy and this guy are very same. But difference is where? This. That is just the mathematical representation.
And we try to print the console.log this outside the function in that ES6.js.
Here,
ES6.js left. Just below that function console dot.
Same, it will print like that. See here. Because presently there is nothing, but if you create function here as well, here as well it will print like that only.
Because in function we are trying to print a console.
See,
Not this.
here also it will print something same, empty object. Can you see this? Right? So whenever you write inside function, it prints to one reference, a global object which has hold that function. Getting that? Global object which has hold that function you can get here. Right, if you see this carefully, you'll find global, you can get the global clear interval, clear timeout, set timeout, and all these things. You'll get it here.
Sir, scoping of this is also possible.
Yes, but you need to have a class.
Okay, let's say we have a class, then in that class we have a function, in that function again we have a function. So just when
This would be always pointing to the class.
current class, this would be.
Yeah,
And if I'm declaring this into the function,
class, still class.
still that refers to the
Class, yeah.
Okay. And if we are assigning the value, let's say this dot a equals to 10.
10.
Very class level.
Class level.
Again, I'm just trying to change that value. The function this dot a equals to 20.
20,
What
yeah.
is the value of that a?
20.
20.
20.
Okay, is traversed on the class level.
Yes. So when you wrap it inside class and it is object oriented, this would be pointing to the class, state of the class.
So scope would be same for this.
Yeah, same. Right. Now, what I want to do, this is the foundations, right? You need to know, because now you might have seen we have used the lambda very much times. Right, now how to write a for loop. I'll create one file and here you can say loops.js. So there are traditional loop are as it is, right? For is there, then while is there, do while is there. You go through that. I'll show you arr is equals to array of objects. Say nm, you can say Android, and OS, here you can say Linux. Right. Then rim, here you can say Symbian, something like this. Here I can say Mango, it is on the top of Windows. Now I want to iterate over this for loop. I want to iterate over this array in a for loop. So you have a traditional for loop for let I is equals to 0, I is less than arr dot what? Length, and I plus plus, and I what? Plus plus, and you can say console dot log arr of I. One thing, you can iterate like this, or you can iterate using what? While loop, right? Or you can iterate using arr dot for each, a more standard way of iterating. And here you need to pass the lambda. Here you need to pass what? Lambda. Here you have to pass something called as lambda. Now how you would be passing the lambda? Arr dot for each, and you need to pass something called as lambda. What lambda you need to pass? A function you need to pass over here.
Function as argument.
Yes. It accepts the function, and that function has one parameter called as element or abcpq, or what's the variable name is, and that will point to the each object of this array. Something like the variable name here I can take, that can be anything, arrow. Remember that this variable is pointing to each element of this array per iteration. So I can say console.log whatever that variable is, and here you will find that objects I am iterating on. So let me remove this and let me keep just this thing, arr.forEach, this variable name, console.log the object, and here I can say loops.js. Can you see all the objects it would be printing? Well, along with the objects, you can have the index ind, and let's have the bracket over here so that it would be considered as these are together, and together these are called as what? Parameters. Index. So here you can have ind. So at this index, this is there, right? Actually these are the two parameters. First one is what? Element, each element, and current index, current position. 0 1 2 3, yeah. Or we haven't saved it. Hasn't been saved. See, at the 0 there is this, at the first it is this, at the second it is this.
And for 0 if I want to fetch the one value in the in that format Android.
Huh?
Android OS Linux.
Dot nm.
The dot is a key value pair.
Key value pair. You can say dot nm. It will give you just names. Getting that? If you say dot OS, you'll get an OS. See.
More specific, let's say only one OS only. I just want to iterate only Linux.
You just want to
Fetch only Linux, not call all OS. Zeroth element.
only zeroth element.
Yeah, only Linux.
ARR of 0 dot OS. It is pointing to Linux.
That fetch only the Linux.
Only Linux. It will not iterate. It will go to the element directly. Yes. Getting that? Any question you have? If you have any question, please do ask me. Take 2 minutes and then ask me. Take 2 minutes.
So it is behaving like an object, so we can create a reference of that object also, then we can fetch the value.
We can create what? Reference as in?
Because it is treating as an object.
Uh-huh.
So we can create an reference variable for that object, where let's say AR is equal to new is equal to AR.
Okay.
So in that case, can we fetch the value? Because we are iterating through the for loop as of now.
Yeah, this is nothing but fetching the value. .os. For each element you want to print value of OS. This is how you are printing. What's your question exactly?
Question is that I'm trying to create a reference variable because it is treating like an object. That ARR already
See,
object.
ARR is a array of objects.
Array of objects.
Whenever you get a JSON would be in this format,
Key value there.
right? Array of objects. So in that case, you need to iterate over the objects only. What is the use case exactly?
Because when we trying to, we create a reference variable when we create an object through the new keyword and we access.
Forget about new. We haven't reached to the new yet. These are the classical JavaScript objects. These are not the class objects. Getting that? This is also object. This is called as object literal notation, which is the next topic. Right. So what I will create, let me create new file called as obj.js. obj.js. Now in the JS, you can create object in this way. Let obj is equals to. Let obj is equals to what? Start bracket and end bracket. This is the valid object inside a JS. This thing is called as object literal notation. Is like a JSON, not a JSON. JSON is JavaScript object notation, right? Some data format which is looking like JS object, that is a JSON. One data format which is looking like JS object, there is notation, but this is a real JavaScript object. Where? In one object you can put anything. You can have key value pairs, right? Keys would be just non-space. Keys would be most of the time or all of the time strings. Keys would be what? Strings. So here you can say OS and value would be what? Linux. Manufacturer. Right? Community. Right? Version. Here I can say version 10. Getting that? Version is what? 10. Then I can have boolean values also. Right? Is live true? Right? Something like this. Support. Is support available? Yes. $78 per hour. You can say like this. Well, keys can be fn and values can be the functions as well. Syntax which is inside, well, this can be array as well. This can be array as well. Android, Apple, Windows, and like that. This can be another object as well. Right? System. Like this. This can be another object as well. This is a valid JavaScript object. which is called as object literal notation. This thing is called as what? Object literal notation. Any questions from your side? If you have any questions, please do ask me. JSON is a data representation, right? You cannot say this is a JSON. Do not compare with it. JSON is a data format which is independent of the JS. Your ASP.NET can generate the JSON. PHP backend can generate the JSON. Well, what happens in the JSON? All the strings would be going inside quotes. This is also double quote. This is also double quote. Everything is in double quote. String would go inside. All the keys will go inside what? Double quote. And what is a JSON? Is just a data format like XML. Right? Is a data transmission format like XML. Nowadays, JSON cannot be used only for the transmission, but writing config files. You can write some configuration in the JSON and then you can read it. Getting that? So JSON is something looking like this. It is not this. JSON is something looking like this object. It's a plain, this is a plain JavaScript object. And from this, if you want to convert the JSON, so you will get this thing. JS object to JSON online, you can say. Right. So here, I would like to get this object. See, this is your JSON and this is your JS. This is JavaScript object, this is. And this is what? JSON. So if I make AND is 10, see, it will look like this. Getting that?
Double quote is there actually not in JS file.
Yeah, this double quote is not available here. But do not remember like that. There is no relationship with the JSON and JS. Something which look likes the JavaScript object, that is the JSON. There is no other concern. Okay. This is how you will create the object. Well, there are some more things. Now, with the traditional JS, how you will create the object? You can see function, car, right? Function, car. Here you can say let CR, here object oriented starts is equals to new car. Function is everything in the JS. Right? Function is everything in the JS. You can write something like this. And then you can say CR dot any property if you want to access, you can access. Constructor. Sorry, here you cannot write the constructor. But
In that case, you need to use the class keyword, then you could use the constructor.
no. This is also possible. See, JavaScript function class. JavaScript classes, you can see. Can you see? You can write something like this. Where foo is equals to well, this is something different. This is something different.
This is
we'll see that. So what exactly it is? This is called as IIFE, immediately invocable function, and this thing would be working as class. This guy would be working as what? Class. Straight away you can write let speed by default would be the 10. If you say let speed would be this thing, right? So this is completely different, you can say, and we are trying to this something like this. This is completely different, right? And these are called as pseudo classes. We are not going to use it, right? We are not going to use it that frequently, right? So if you want to go with the class related things, you would be creating objects. ES6 has given you a keyword called as class. Class, you can say remote. Here you can have constructors. So I'm deliberately not working with what you can say these the pseudo classes, right? I personally not that comfortable with these things. I have started directly using these classes and objects, right? ES6. But if you want to go with this thing, you can go with this as well. But then you need to learn something called as IIFE, design patterns. So whatever they have given over here, this is the design pattern, right? This is the design pattern, IIFE. Getting that? Fine. So remote, and then here you can have this dot range is equals to 10, and here you can say the get range if you want to get range outside, and here you can say return this dot range. So here you can create object of let rmt is equals to new remote. This is a typical object. This is what? Typical object. rmt dot range or rmt dot get range is a function, you can call it. Well, for setting it, you can call set range, and here you can say one variable rng, and here you can say this dot range is equals to rng, like getter and setter. rmt dot set range, you can say 50. Typical class you have written, but this is available only in ES6. Remember that this is available only in what? ES6. Any question? If you have any question, please ask me. Now on the TS, lot many things has been improvised. Getting that? Yeah, TS is a classes, is fully object oriented, but it is a superset of JS, right? So you can type the code for this much in 2 minutes, then we will start again, right? Live stream is on, right? I'm not stopping that. So please type the code. Just in a 5 minutes, please.
मैसेज भेजा तो मैसेज नहीं था।
हमने क्या करा है वैसे?
हैं? हो गया पूरा तो क्या? मैसेज भेजा तो कौन भेजा?
टेक्स्ट मैसेज करा था।
व्हाट्सएप पे तुम भेजी। काम कर रहे हो? घर भेजे?
अभी कुछ न्यू नहीं पढ़ाया ना? नहीं ना?
मार्केटिंग में जाए नहीं अभी जीएस चला हुआ।
वही जो अपना किया था ना, कॉल स्टेटस वगैरह वाली, वही
ये क्या हो गया?
अभी पढ़ाई थी ना शायद?
क्यों आज से रिवीजन नहीं है?
ब्रैकेट में ये इंटर बोले थे ये ब्रैकेट वाले
ये इस बार ये अभी रिसेंट चेंज किया होगा उन्होंने। कल तो मैं पूछ कर गई थी
किससे?
कि 11 बजे होगा, नहीं तो कल ठीक है ना, रिवीजन ही था।
कल कौन सा मैच है वैसे?
मैं बंदा ये 5 मिनट के लिए
5 मिनट नहीं, 10 मिनट।
ये तो इतनी देर आई अपन ब्राउज़र राइट क्लिक करते हैं बॉलीवुड होता है ना चल
नहीं ये तो बजे ये लेट आई थी क्या?
इसे ना बहुत चक्कर मारे हैं यहाँ से फिर वापस हिंदुवाड़ी फिर डेक्कन
नहीं, मैं वापस नहीं गई, मंदिर जाऊंगी अब।
वापस नहीं गया बढ़िया किया तब चलता है पुनः
कल
नाम है क्या
कल कल इतना कंफ्यूज है कि कल क्या होगा, फिर क्या
क्या है?
फिर 3 दिन पूरे पढ़ने
अरे हम
आती
सीधा
है।
वहाँ फंस गए तो IoT में कुछ इश्यूज आ गए थे तो डिबगिंग में टाइम लग गया
वैसे वो बूस्टर भी खत्म हो गई।
दूसरे लोग कोडिंग सीख रहे हैं हाँ तो रिटायरमेंट क्यों मार गए अभी भी जय जी अरे ओवर के बाद आदमी दुकान खोल देता है
हाँ 30-40
सही बात है
10 साल और जॉब करने बैठो घर पे।
ये देखो उनके फ्यूचर प्लान ये तो यूथ के फ्यूचर प्लान है इन्फोसिस की फालतू इसकी रोके बैठेगी पूरा दूसरा था बंदा कोई था
तुषार तुषार
तुषार
कितने देर पढ़ा
वो तो आधा घंटा
20 minutes
20 मिनट्स हार्डली
थैंक गॉड मैं नहीं गई
वो भी बड़ा क्लासेस वगैरह सब पता होगा उसको डिजाइनिंग किया है
वही तो बात नहीं है
ये तो हमारे क्या पूछ सकते हैं
एंगुलर अगर कोई बोलता है आई नो एंगुलर तो उसको बूटस्ट्रैप पर कितना नॉलेज आना चाहिए 10
वो पूछेगा तू बता कितना था
सीएसएस चाहिए
थोड़ा सा 10%
बता फिर इन लोग कैसे होते हैं वो तो रिज्यूम तो साइड में रखते हैं वो मुझे पता कोई क्या लिखा अब मुझे बता अब तेरे को क्या आता है मेरे को बता ऐसे ही मतलब रिज्यूम आप रख दो मुझे बता मैं इसमें क्या हो रहा होगा आप इस पेन लो
मुझे देखो स्ट्रांग इसमें स्ट्रांग हो कौन से इसमें स्ट्रांग हो
वो देखा रिज्यूम कराओ
ऐसा कुछ पता नहीं सकते हम
नहीं
कितना
इंटरव्यू है ना
मतलब
बूटस्ट्रैप
कुछ
करने
नया
का
होगा।
हार्ड नहीं है काय का बहुत
सबसे इजी बूटस्ट्रैप
बूटस्ट्रैप
है।
लगा के
तब तो पढ़ना तो पड़ेगा ना
यूएसपी
W3 से पढ़ लो इजी है बूटस्ट्रैप सबसे इजी लगता है
एंड्रॉइड में लिखा है
बूस्टर से पूछ नहीं ना आप जिस प्रोफाइल पर जा रहे हो ना डिपेंड करता है कि आपने रिज्यूम में क्या भरा है वो उस पर पूछता है क्वेश्चन बूटस्ट्रैप नहीं पूछे आपने पूछा मुझे एंगुलर आती है अच्छा एंगुलर आती है
नहीं फिर भी पूछता है
वो मान के चलता है एंगुलर आपको आती है तो
मतलब
एंगुलर
मुझे
में
सीएसएस
कैसे क्या
पूछा
होगा
ना उसने पैडिंग
फ्लैश पूछा 100%
कल आप इंटरव्यू दिया है
गलती नहीं तो दे
क्या क्या एंगुलर मतलब किस बेसिस पे
पीएचपी और
भाई का 2 किलो वेट कम हो गया
सचिन ने अरे इतना टेंशन सीधे से लेके
मैं वो टेंशन थी भाई कहां ये वो फिर वहां फिर यहां टेल मी समथिंग और तो तीनों बोला
मैंने तो कभी एक ही इंटरव्यू दिया और मेरा हो गया था कॉलेज प्लेसमेंट उसके बाद मैंने कभी नहीं दिया है
हम सॉन्ग का प्रोग्राम भी के बोला
मैंने एक ही दिया है पूरी जिंदगी में एक ही इंटरव्यू
रिकॉर्डिंग हो रही है अपने टाइम पर करके बैठे
हां तो उसमें क्या हुआ
अब बताओ तो क्या पूछा है मैंने
बहुत सारा पूछा है बूटस्ट्रैपिंग का शुरू से लेके जो भी है
तुम्हारा कोडिंग कुछ भी ज्यादा PHP का उस पर पूछो बीच में
हां पीएचपी
तीन वो पूछते हैं कि फ्रेमवर्क में काम है
पूछ तो सारी जगह पे पूछते हैं
कुछ तो हर जगह पूछते हैं वो बाय डिफॉल्ट रहता है
उसके बाद जो फ्रेमवर्क है किसने काम किया कौन सा फ्रेमवर्क में क्या किया वो फ्रेमवर्क में कुछ नहीं किया था
प्रोजेक्ट में कोई
जैसे
चैलेंज
पता
आएगा
किया
प्रोजेक्ट में कुछ चैलेंज आएगा ऐसे क्या
तो
सिचुएशन
मैंने कहा
थी
तो मतलब
सबसे फेवरेट प्रोजेक्ट कौन सा था फेवरेट रहता है
नहीं
क्या
फंसे पर हैंडल कैसे किया ऐसा कोई सिचुएशन बताओ
सपोज अभी एक मैं मॉडल को उसको बताया कि एनिमी मॉडल मैंने बनाया तो उसमें से मेन फाइल कौन सा है मुझे बोलता है
हां
मैंने बोला वन फाइल फाइल मैंने तो नहीं दूसरा मेन होता है दूसरा मेन फाइल कौन सा है मतलब वो इंडेक्स फाइल मेन होता है
Index.
नहीं वो भी नहीं मेन होता दूसरा कौन सा फाइल
मेन मेन डॉट
अरे वो फिर मुझे
हम लोग हमेशा ग्लोबल डॉट टीएस बना के रखते हैं ना
वैसा नहीं
कलेक्शन
पड़ेगा
वाले संदेश
या फिर वो मेन डॉट टीएस ही रहता है उसका नाम ग्लोबल दिया
अलग स्पेट वेगळंच काहीतरी होतं मी काय सांगितलं
टीएस की तो हर एक की टीएस फाइल बनती
पर
है
एक मेन भी होता है ना जिसमें सारे
वो स्टाइल्स होता है
अरे मेन डॉट टीएस तो वो यहाँ पे कॉपी एंगुलर चलती है ना उसको लोड लेते हुए चलती है पेजेस और
वो
जॉब के
ऐप
गेट चलती
constant डॉट टीएस
है
बनाओगे
वो मेन डॉट जेएस जो है
मेन डॉट टीएस
मेन डॉट जेएस वाइट वाले कॉन्फ़िगरेशन जब लोड होती है ना क्लास में जावा के अंदर सारे पहले क्लास
तीन
में लोड
मधून
होती है
सगळे वेगवेगळे क्वेश्चन्स विचारले असतील
आप किसमें हो?
प्रत्येकाने म्हणजे तीन इंटरव्ह्यू
स्टार्टिंगला काय असायचं ना
तीन म्हणजे
तीर्थ म्हणून हे
तीन कंपनीज वेगवेगळे
डेवलपमेंट ये जमाना का वाला
ओके
अच्छा ना
आणि एका कंपनीमध्ये 3 राउंड झाले
हा
लस्सी का मंडी लगी
एका कंपनीमध्ये 2 कंपनीला
लस्सी का
एक
मंडी
झाला
लगी
पहिला
अच्छा
लस्सी
कोणता
का
होता टेक्निकल फर्स्ट
फर्स्ट टेक्निकल
लस्सी का मंडी कौन सी है सबसे बड़ी एशिया की
दोन्ही टेक्निकल
नासिक
होते
मध्ये
फर्स्ट फर्स्ट लोक डायरेक्टली कोडिंग करायला लागले
कोडिंग
लस्सी का मंडी का नासिक में
तिथं मला
प्याज की सबसे बड़ी
स्टार्टिंगचा application आहे हायरिंग पॅनल प्लस जे काही तुमचं काम मध्ये आणि
सबसे बड़ा प्रोडक्ट है प्याज होता है पूरे देश में जाता है
ऑनलाईन शॉपिंग
अच्छा
ते डिझाईन केलं मी व्यवस्थित त्याच्यात मला टेक्निकल झालं ते पण व्यवस्थित केलं त्याच्या राहिला होता तो मला तो
वो जैसे बढ़िया ये सारे कोड समझ आ जाए ये ना मराठी में हिंदी में
पहिले स्टार्टिंगचे 2 बोगस दिले असे
बहुत अच्छा होता है
इसमें आमसॉन्ग बोला मेरे को आमसॉन्ग लिखा
आमसॉन्ग नंबर?
हाँ प्रोग्राम लिखो
जावास्क्रिप्ट से
नहीं नहीं पेस्ट
लॉजिक पूछना तो आप सुनो
टीडीपी जो भी वैसे करता हूं
0 प्लस में क्या था ऑप्शन
आमसॉन्ग
अरे 1 to 1 का 1 to 1
नहीं नहीं जो नंबर है ना उसका जो क्यूब करते हैं
हाँ
तो उसका एडिशन जो
अच्छा
है वो नंबर
अच्छा
आता है
जैसे 1 to 3 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3
जो डिजिट है ना सपोज 151 है तो
हाँ।
1 का सेपरेट वो जो डिजिट है वो सेपरेट करना है उसका क्यूब बनाना है हर एक का उसका एडिशन जो है वो सेम नंबर है सेकंड हाईएस्ट नंबर निकालना
खुद आप सेकंड हाईएस्ट निकाल दो, उसको एरो पर में ले लो। आप पहले हाईएस्ट निकाल लो, फिर एरो 0 से ट्रैवर्स करा दो उसको, कॉमन से आ जाएगा।
मैंने पहले सॉर्ट किया उसको।
हाँ सॉर्ट करना पड़ेगा। सॉर्ट कैसे किया?
वो डायरेक्टली आरेगा फंक्शन है।
नहीं बिना सॉर्ट किया, हमसे पूछा बिना उसके, बोलता तो फंक्शन होता था मेरे
नहीं
को।
नहीं नहीं वैसा कुछ नहीं किया।
प्रोग्रामिंग लॉजिक से बता कैसे होगा सॉर्ट ये।
उसमें तो फिर
वो कंपेयर से होगा, आपको हर एलिमेंट का कंपेयर करना पड़ेगा, जैसे है ना 1 से 2,
वो तो कंपेयर करना
फिर इसको
पड़ेगा
नंबर को स्वैप कर दो।
हाँ
मजा तो तभी आता है प्रोग्रामिंग के लिए पकड़
उसने जाके पहले बोला कौन सा टेक्नोलॉजी निकाल के हम लारावेल नहीं यूज करते हैं, तो मैं आगे कंटिन्यू करूँ, मैं कंटिन्यू करूँ, मुझे थोड़ा इंटरव्यू देना है।
तो क्या आखिरी सीजन आया तीनों में से?
हाँ
आने वाले?
अरे इतनी जल्दी को जवाब देता है।
एक का तो हो चुका है 90%,
80%
कम बाकी है सर।
कितने
अच्छा भी निकल जाओगे इसमें क्या?
देखिए क्या होता
जाना एकदम अच्छे से फॉर्मल में।
नोट की माला पहन ली।
नहीं
है।
फॉर्मल।
लेकिन मैंने देखा ना उस ऑफिस में वो बॉस था ना, इतना चिल्ला रहा था ना जो
भैया बचा
वो चिल्ला रहा था।
कौन सी कंपनी?
अबे साले कब देगा?
अच्छा वाला वो मार्केटिंग जो कैसे बोलना।
अरे नहीं ऐसा
इन्फोविजनचं सध्या खूप ड्राईव्ह सुरू आहेत, मला आलं होतं.
किसमें?
इन्फोविजन.
इन्फॉर्मेशन का ड्राइव मतलब साला बहुत
नहीं ड्राइव है ना, वो एक्सपीरियंस के लिए कॉल करो, रिज्यूम शॉर्टलिस्ट हुआ तो बोलेगा, और वो हाइक भी अच्छा देता है,
डबल जा भैया।
डबल दे देता है, यानी डबल से थोड़ा ज़्यादा मांगना, वो डबल पे आ जाता है.
बोला किसने बोला तेरे को डबल मिलता? मतलब हमारे बैच में
देता है मांगना.
डबल उनको मिलता है जिनको ऑलरेडी काम होता है।
30%।
डबल उनको मिलता है जिनको ऑलरेडी काम होता है। मान लो कोई 10 में बैठा है ना तो 120 मिलेगा।
अब नहीं,
बोले सर हमको बोला डबल मिलता है, बोला साले तू पहली बात पे बैठा है।
उस केस में नहीं.
जैसे छोटे मोटे बंदे होते हैं ना, राइटिंग के 3.5 4 के, वो लोग समझते नहीं है। बोला तो पकड़ा
ले
देगा
ले ले.
ये दिन को 4-5 लाख। अच्छा 12 पे इसको अच्छा इंक्लूड कर।
पहले ही बता दिया उन्होंने, पहले ही दिया कि आपका एस्पिरेशन क्या है, आपका करंट सिचुएशन क्या है, कितना दिन पे नोटिस पीरियड है वगैरह सब कुछ।
तुम्हारा तो मैसेज नहीं है।
आप बोल दिया आई एम रेडी फॉर बाय आउट, इफ ईदर यू विल बाय आउट और मैं विल बाय
मेरे बाबा बायो ऐसे नहीं होता है, बायो बहुत अर्जेंट केसेस होता है।
हाँ, दोनों कंपनी रेडी थे.
बायो
अरे
केस
बहुत
में
अच्छी
होता है,
कंपनी है
आपका
तो बाय आउट
की
कर
प्लेयर
लीजिएगा,
लेके
इतना
करोगे।
कुछ नहीं है। मैं सच बता रही, बाय आउट कर लीजिए, बहुत सारे लोग कर लेते हैं।
फिर इसकी तरफ से पैसा आएगा। कंपनी पैसा
लेकिन अगर कोई आपको कंपनी इतना अच्छा पैकेज दे रही है,
कंपनी बायो पता है किस केस में करती है? आपका की प्लेयर हट गया, अब आप क्लाइंट चिल्ला रहा है भैया बंदा ला मेरे को, तो सामने वाले बंदे को तुरंत खरीदना पड़ता है। मेरे सीनियर में उन्होंने आईपी में डबल सैलरी देके एक 15 रुपया ले रहा था, तो हाल से डन।
So, see what we did. Basics of JS only, right? What is object literal notation? What are the functions? What are the variables? What is the let? Right? How to create the classes? What is the this? Now see, here can you see? This is something different. Here this is pointing to the object of class remote. Right. Now, once we are jumping to the TS, now let's go to the Typescript, and here you can say Typescript, and you will find what is Typescript is a JavaScript that scales. Now, scalability in which terms? Right, scalability in which terms? See, TypeScript is a typed superset of the JS that compiles to plain JS. Right, what they are saying? TypeScript is typed superset of the JS that compiles to plain JS. Type superset means what? Do you remember I told you this is creating problem. This will create the problem.
defining the data type.
Yes. So I'll create new folder, and into that new folder I say TS. Now into the TS I can say basics.ts. So if you want to work with the TypeScript files, the extension of the files would be the TS. Extension of the files would be what? TS. Okay. Now, if you want to work with the TS, make sure that you need to install the TS. Now there is something called as npm install /g TypeScript. Right. npm install /g TypeScript. What is npm now? npmjs.org is a node package manager. What people does, if you want to contribute to the JS community, people create their repository, right? And they push it to the Git so people can use it. But what I want to use, I want to use that package, a distribution package, directly in my project. If you put on the Git, you need to clone it. If you put on the Git, what you need to clone it, you need to build it. But what I want to do, pre-built package, I want to use in my project directly. So Node community has created one, what you can say, package repository, where most of the packages are as it is available on that particular repository or that database. That people call it as npmjs.com. Here you would be having. So all the packages over here are given in that way that straight away you can incorporate that packages in your Node project. Getting that? Now once you install the Node, straightly npm comes on your machine. Node package manager. So npm is again client tool which keeps the capability. What it does? Which keeps the capability of communicating with, what you can say, the npm repository. Npm package keeps the capability of communicating with npm registry. You can say registry or repository, whatever it is. Any package, right? So there is a command. If you want to get a particular package, you can say npm install and the package name. Npm install and what? Package name. Now this flag globally or locally /g or -- save. Right. Node modules can be created at the global level or node modules can be created at the local level. Getting that? Node modules either can be created at the global level or that can be created at the local level. Getting that? What I mean to say? So npm install /g TypeScript. Right. Remember that I already have installed this, and once you install this package, you will get one command called as tsc. Go here and tsc, hit the enter. See, tsc is not the command is not available, which means that I don't have that thing. So if I want to install npm install /g TypeScript, go here. If you have upgraded the version of Node, what I'm saying, if you have upgraded the version of Node, you need to reinstall all the packages with the latest version. Right. Now if I hit tsc, can you see a set of commands you will find here as it is? tsc. See, earlier it was command not found, but it is giving you what? Commands or some list. So we have installed what? TypeScript by means of npm install /g TypeScript. We have studied little bit about the npm registry. People are going to put, now if you go to the TypeScript, if you search TypeScript here, I'll show you practically. TypeScript, see TypeScript. Can you see? So this is a package Microsoft has uploaded over here, right? Homepage is this, Git repository is this, it is getting a data from this, and last published a day ago, yesterday only they have published it. And see, TypeScript, 56,000 stars are there, right? And all these things. And source code is same, and this is your package, that particular package. 12,000 dependents are there, so it is not dependent on anything, right? There are no dependencies, but another 12,000 packages are dependent on the TypeScript. Who manages all these things? NPM. You need to create a node project in such a way that can be accepted by the NPM org. So there are some set of rules. You need to write in this way, in this way, in this way, and then you can publish the package on the NPM. You can also, your own package can be published on the node, not a big deal. If you think that I have created a fantastic JavaScript library and that need to be published on the npmjs.org, you can do that. Someone is missing, right? So they are coming or not? Swapnil? Okay. So why she is not coming?
She has some office work actually. Swapnil and Gunda both.
So they are from belonging to same office.
No, different.
Okay. Fine. So okay. So if they have missed, right, they can straight get a access of the live stream. It is live. On the YouTube it is live. You can get it. Fine. So we created the TS file. Now I can have let nm is equals to Android. Related to the ES6, one thing is there, ES6, I've forgotten to tell you. See, you can define the variables, MLT, multi-line strings. Below the escape, there is a one button, tilde, right? Backticks. You can have what? Backticks. Getting that? And here also you can write multi-line strings, even some evaluator operators. You can make some calculations as well. So $rm, right? $rm. Here you can say rm plus rm. Getting that? You can make calculations as well. Inside a string you can make calculations. Multi-line string by using the backticks. By using what? Backticks. Below the escape. Below the escape there is one button. Backtick. Tilde. Shift, if you use, that is tilde. If you not use shift, that is a backtick. Getting that? You can even call the functions. Right? Date dot now. You can call functions. You can call your custom functions. Evaluators.
Date dot now would give you current date.
Current date. Is Excel is equals to now function. In the spreadsheet is equals to what? Now. Same. So if I run the code, node es6.js. Okay, we need to console it. And one thing, have you observed there are no semicolons? Have you observed that? There are no semicolons. They are optional. See, multi-line string. This is the date dot now, which is giving you what you can say is current time millis. If you copy this and if you go to the epoch time, right, epoch time, you will get exact date and time. Print that values here, hit the enter. See, GMT, Sunday, December, this, your time zone is this, a relative few seconds ago. This is the value which is generated by date dot now. What date dot now is going to generate? A long value, a number value with the current time milliseconds. And the epoch time is that time. See, what is the epoch time? They have given here. The Unix epoch, Unix time, POSIX times, Unix timestamp is the number of seconds that have elapsed since January 1, 1970 midnight. Not counting the leap seconds, something like that. Literally speaking, the epoch is the epoch time is a Unix time 0. But the epoch is often used as synonym for the Unix time. So there is a clock they have started. When? 1st January 1970, and then how many milliseconds has been elapsed from that? That is the Unix time. So whenever someone is referring to the epoch time, they are referring to this algorithm. Remember that. Wait, right? Now, what we can do? What we can do? Let's start with the TS, basics.ts. Now, if you see let nm is equals to this, Android. So extra is my control key is not working properly. Let nm is equals to Android. Let nm is equals to what? Android. So if you try to assign nm to the 10, can you see there is an error? If you try to assign nm to the boolean, there is an nm error. If you try to assign nm, there is an error. But this is not the case with the JS. If you go here, it is not the case with the JS. Here is an error, but here there is no error. Something has been changed. Superset of the JS. Types has been involved in this. So you are saying that indirectly nm is of type string. So number cannot be allocated to the string. Boolean values cannot be allocated to the string. Precision values cannot be allocated to the string. Are you getting that? Precision values cannot be allocated to the string. But here that is not the case. Here it is not the case. Here case is different. Okay? So types has been involved. Remember that you write it or you don't write it. Over here, you write this thing or you don't write this thing. From the value, it is going to identify that it is of type string. From the value, it is going to identify it is of type string. Right. Similarly, you can have let number is of type number. For just explaining you types, I am writing deliberately, but it's not every time. Now this number and this number is in the global scope. That's why it is affecting over here. Getting that? This is, although it's in another file, this is affecting that. So if you write something like this here, somewhere else that might have been defined. See, if I delete this, error would be gone. Right, instead of where, you need to make it let. See. So this is still it is global. Still it is global, but it is now blocked scope. To the where we have converted to what? Let. So scope has been introduced. Right? Which is again proof that let actually works with the scoping. Getting that? Okay. So I just have added the brackets. Scope has been added. So here I can say let is machine is of type what? Boolean. So B is small. And you can say true. Everything is machine. Right. Then you can say let salary is of type number but the precision value. But what? Precision value. Salary is of type what number? But it is precision value. Num machine salary like this. Okay. So types has been involved. Even if you write a function, here I can say my fn, and to that my fn is going to return the value of type number. It is going to return the value of type number, and here I can say n1 it is again of type number, and n2 it is again of type what? Number. And return you can say n1 plus n2. Now if you try to return the string, it will give you an error. Why? Because this is function is of number. Returning is of type what? Number. Types. There are more types. Let fn or let obj. If your variable is going to hold the object is of type, what you can say, start curly brace, and remember that this is a type. Start curly brace and the end curly brace. Getting that? Start curly brace and what? This is a type, remember that, and this is the actual value. After the assignment operator, there is a value. Right, once you have a assignment operator, there is a value. But that is after the assignment operator. And this is what? After the colon, there is a type. Type always comes after what? Colon in a Typescript. And after the assignment operator, there is actual value, and that can be any object. Well, you can define that as well. You can define that as well. Now see, you are fine tuning the object type. You are saying that key is a standard, is always of type string. Right? This is the key. You are defining the key. Key is of type what? String. And a value is of type number. See. Value is of type what? Remember that still this is a declaration. Still this is what? Declaration. You are still declaring the type. And here it is the definition. So still you are saying this is of type number. Getting that? You are still defining the object, but you are fine tuning the object. Now you will say, why this is still not giving you an error? Because this is the empty object. Getting that? So it should be something like this: key and the 50. This is a valid object now. Key is of type what? Sorry. Key is of type what? String. The moment you make it string, it will give you an what? Error. But this not. This is a valid object. This is also valid object. Blank. But this is not following this equation. This is empty, which means that this is not following the equation. But still, why compiler is not giving you an error? Because this is encapsulating all types of object. Only start brace and curly brace, which is encapsulating what? All types of the object. Getting that? This is encapsulating all types of the objects. This is the parent of all objects. That's why the definition and the declaration are matching. Well, you can say fn is of type function you need to define, which is returning the void. So what you are saying, fn is a variable which is going to hold the function who is accepting nothing. Who is accepting what? Nothing. But returning what? Void. So any function which is accepting nothing and which is returning void is a valid assignment. Is equals to now. This is actual definition. You can write function which is accepting nothing and returning what? Void. Or just return. That's it. Void. I'm returning what? Void. Or this can be lambda. Tell me the lambda like this. That's it. And you can say some assignment, some object I have written, or console.log. Hi. This is a type, remember that. This much is what? Type. So it would be holding the functions all the time. Fn variable would be dedicatedly holding the functions. Now they have said something different about TypeScript. When you compile this, it becomes the plain JS. Right? It becomes plain JS. Right? Then first you need to compile it. You go here in the TS. You go here in the TS and look here, TSC. Basics.ts. Getting that? TSC, TypeScript compiler. And what? Basics.ts. Hit the enter. Can you see one JS file has been created? Now if you go to that JS file which has been created from this code, you will find the errors are because of the scope, right? Don't worry about that. But see, there are no types over here. There are absolutely no types over here. Then the question comes, if types are all the way going to be skipped, why we are taking these efforts? Getting that? It is all about the understanding of the developers. If you are talking about the web technologies, browser related softwares, and you are using TypeScript, TypeScript is limited to your machine, developer's machine. But it will clear your understanding. While typing the code, if you try to assign 10 to the nm, it will give you an error. But browser never understand that thing. Browser will only and only accept what? The compiled version of the JS. It doesn't know anything. It doesn't know anything else other than JS. Browser will only understand JS. And that's why TypeScript is getting converted into the plain JS. Right? TS is all about your understanding. Even the people have said like that. If you go here, Angular, we love the TypeScript for many things. With the TypeScript, several of our team members have said things like, I now actually understand our written code. When they converted to the TS. So it is for your understanding. Otherwise, you need to write this much. I'll show you one example. Now see, let me delete this JS file because it is creating problem in the scoping. Right. So I can create one car, or you can say inheritance .ts. Right. I can say class car. You can write class is as it is, like you can write in the TS JS. Then class BMW, which is extending inheritance, right? Car. Which is extending what? Car. Now let me convert this code. TSC inheritance. I think that need to be in the TS folder. Inheritance.ts. You can see JS has been created, inheritance.js, and see now the code generated for this is your TS code, sorry, and this is your JS code. Which one is having better understanding? This much lines of code for only this much lines of code. Almost 3 times.
Is equal to 25 lines of JS.
Getting that? Is all about your understanding. Well, let me push this much code. Basics, JS and TS. Right, I'm pushing the code. Kindly go through the code in a 3 minutes. This is the repository. In our repository, I have pushed the code. This is the link where you will get all the codes. Let me paste the repository. So here you will get all the codes. Right? Please check the code in 5 minutes. We'll start in 5 minutes again. Okay. If you need a break of 10 minutes, we can have it. Please come back again. Or shall I continue? You decide, I don't have any problem. You need a break of 10 minutes, you can have it. Otherwise, I'll continue. I'm going to stretch this till 1 o'clock. Fine. We'll come back again on 11:43. Yeah.
सर डाऊट आहे मला
हां.
ते मला चंद्र सर टास्क दिसला मला की नाही का अँग्युलर आणि काय स्प्रिंग बूटचं एम्बेडिंग करायचं होतं.
काय वेब सर्व्हिस कॉल करायची?
ते नाही म्हणजे
still people are not there. We are waiting. So can you turn off the fan, please? This one. And put it on the speed 1. So we were discussing about the TypeScript, right? It's all about your understanding, right? TypeScript is all about what? Your understanding. Okay? Now, let me delete this thing. And we have discussed that the TypeScript is all about the understanding. 7 lines of code is equals to 25 lines of code. This is a more interpretable. This is a more understandable. But not this. You need to have a little bit efforts to understand this code. But remember, browser always understand the JS only. Browser never understand what exactly TS is. TS is all about your understanding. Right. Fine. So this is the concept of inheritance, right? When you talk about inheritance, which is nothing but is a relationship, object-oriented modeling design says that there is one type of relationship which is nothing but is a relationship. You can say BMW is a car. Whenever you want to define the is a relationship, object-oriented programming languages like Java, right? They have given one special keyword called as extends. Even the TypeScript follows same principle. If you define the is a relationship, that is nothing but the extends. Right? So you are saying that BMW is a car. BMW is nothing but what? A car. Is a relationship. Well, that is good. Now, another thing is that what I want to do, I have one more file. You can say runner.ts. I can create any file with any name. TypeScript is allowing you. Right. Inheritance.ts, runner.ts. Now what I want to do, I want to use BMW in the runner.ts. Getting that? I want to use BMW in the runner.ts. So there comes the functionality of exporting the modules. TypeScript says that if you want to use anything of one file into another file, you need to precede it with the keyword called as export. Here as well, export. Which means that the classes car and the BMW can be exported and can be imported in another file. Now see, let BMW is equals to new BMW. Can you see? I have one plugin, auto import. Once you install the auto import, it will import the necessary classes automatically. It will install necessary classes automatically. Here you can say import BMW from dot represents current directory. In the current directory, you would be having the TS folder, and into the TS folder, you would be having one file called as inheritance.ts. From that file, kindly import it. Well, that file has been misplaced. That should be in itself TS. Just for our interpretation, understanding. Right. So you have created file in another folder and you have used it in another folder. Getting that? You have created it in another folder and used it in another folder. Export and the import. Right. Well, here you can define BMW is of type BMW. Right. Class type. So far we have seen the function type, number type, string type, Boolean type. This is a new one. Class type. Custom data type. Right. BMW variable is of type BMW. So you can allocate the object of BMW. Well, this guy is called as constructor. How to write a constructor? You can go here and there is one keyword called as constructor. You can write that. Right. You can write that. Now it is giving you error. It is saying that you just need to call the parent constructor as well, because this is a child. Whenever you create object of child, it is necessary to create object of what? Parent. Top down approach is there. This inheritance is a multi-level inheritance. If you see, there is one car, the BMW extends what? Car. You are creating one more level. So if you are creating the nth level, you need to take care of n-1 layer. Getting that thing? So super represents the adjacent parent class. So car might be extending to someone else, but super is not presenting to that someone else. Super is presenting to car only. Getting that? Let me check the live stream. Okay. Fine. So class BMW extends what? Car. Is a relationship. Has been defined over here. Well, you don't need this much levels of details while typing the Angular code, right? But just the object-oriented principles that remain same across the programming languages. No matter which programming language you have. But oops are oops. Class is class. Inheritance is inheritance. It won't be getting changed. Fine. So class BMW extends car, export class. We have seen what is export. We have seen what is extend. We have seen what is super. Getting that thing? So this guy is called as constructor. What do you mean by constructor? If you want to create an object, there is a special function who takes care of defining the, what you can say, initial level of state. What do you mean by state? State is nothing but what you can say, BMW color you can say is of type string. Color is of type what? String. And here price, just hold on, the machine is suspending. Price no, it's getting suspended. Does it give me access to the command prompt? So live stream